Happy Friday! I'm just going to wait a minute or two for you guys to join me, if you are joining me, for quite a grey Friday, but nevertheless, it's Friday. You've got through the week again. Well done you. Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there? Happy Friday! Happy Friday! Happy Friday! We've reached Friday again. How are you all? Have you had a good week? Have you had a good week? I feel like, is it even working? There's nobody here. And can I do a little disclaimer first before we start? I have got something to tie my hair up, but I've taken it down because I had a headache this morning and it was pulled quite tight back, so I've taken it out, and that's why I look like a witch. Is anybody there? Will you let me know if anybody's there? Because I don't think it's working. Is it working? Can you see me? I've had a good week this week. I've had a really good week. Oh, somebody's joined me. Hi! Hi, Sue. It's just you and me, Sue. Anyway, you just got to carry on, haven't you? Carry on. Get it done. It's nice to have a sit down. It's nice to have a sit down. I've had a busy morning and I've got a busy afternoon. But I never know on these Fridays what I'm going to end up talking about. But I talk about, hi Sue, how are you? Sorry I haven't seen you for ages. It's just how it is, isn't it, at the moment? But we'll have to have a catch up in the spring or in the summer, hopefully. My hair looks long. It's a right state. It's a right state, my hair, but it's just easy to tie it up. Anyway, so I never know what I'm going to talk about on these lives, but I try and share with you things that help me, and also I try and share things that that I come across in my day-to-day working life. Hi, Leanne. How are you? I'm going to tie my hair up in a minute, so don't anybody say, you need to tie your hair up. Happy Friday. Hi, Kirst. So, the theme for today's Friday Live is kindness, forgiveness, and more mental health. Because mental health problems are a big part of my working life and personal life. Hi, Tracy. How are you? Happy Friday. So, I've talked about this before. And the reason I talk a lot about mental health is because I don't believe in... I think mental health shaming is just as bad as fat shaming. Pointless. Pointless, and it ain't going to make anybody feel any better. So there are different ways that you can help improve your mental health. Hi, Leanne. So we're going to be talking about kindness, and because I was quite poorly with my mental health in June... I decided that I was going to get better. Well, I didn't. I just got better. I was very lucky. Hi, Kirsty. How are you? Happy Friday. Hope you've got the weekend off. So what I do, I take the approach that I take with anything, any problem. If I see something that I want, or I want to know how to do, I find somebody that knows how to do it, and I just copy what they do. So I suffered really quite badly in June. It's no secret. I had some time off work and menopause. I'm blaming menopause. I'm a hormonal mess. And once I started feeling a lot better and got the right treatment, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about the grim reality of what actually happened to me, because we need to talk about these things and not be frightened of it. The reason I'm talking about my personal experiences is because I'm not that bothered about what people think anymore. I'm not that bothered about judgment. I'm not that, if I get judged too much and life becomes too tough, I'll just go and live in France. Oh, Kirsty, look, my hair's falling out. It's thin. It's like candy floss. It's not beautiful. It's horrible. Anyway, I shouldn't say that, should I? I should say thank you so much, Kirsty. So I I've always been interested in having a positive mental attitude, so I try and purposely search out inspirational characters, because I think there's a lot to be learned from people who do. So people who I see in the public eye that are happy, I try and get tips off them. How do they cope with life? How do they negotiate life's ups and downs? And how are they well and happy? And not everybody's happy who seems to be happy, let me tell you. Hi, Andrew. So, I do apologise for these lives, because my job is really quite busy at the moment and I ain't got no time to plan. So all I do is skim over a few ideas I've got, and I sort of just do a little bit of talk about this, talk about that. So we'll see how we go. Take the compliment. I am, yes, gorgeous. I'm just gorgeous. Anyway, so kindness. So the reason I wanted to talk about kindness is because it's good for you. I meet so many people and notice so many people that think that if they have more, they will be happier. And the truth is that I've come to discover the people that really find true happiness and true peace are the ones that are really quite giving, and those people that are kind. We all know really, really kind people that we look up to. You know, those people who are really selfless. Captain Tom, we all looked up to him in the summer, didn't we? Because he didn't need to do that. He did that because he cared about other people. You know, lots of little kids we've seen doing fundraising because they care and they're kind people. And we all look up to them, don't we? And think, what a wonderful person. And that positive energy that they get back, it just fills them up. It fills them up and it really helps their mental well-being. Hiya, Nikki. You're a bit late today, Nikki. What's going on? So anyway, kindness. Yeah, people tend to think that if they get something, they get one up on someone, that, you know, they're going to be happier if they get more money, if they get more things, if they get things... better car or bigger house. And you know, the reality is those things just don't seem to make people happy. And we can see this time and time again when you see rich people who seem to have everything, they're going into rehab, you know, because they haven't found true peace within themselves. And it doesn't matter whether you take my word from it. I've looked round and I've read the evidence, and it seems like kindness is the key. So kindness, I actually looked up on the mental health, what website was this? It's a rubbish copy, this. You know, when it was National Mental Health Day. So this was on the Mental Health Foundation website, and they picked, for this week, kindness as their theme for Mental Health Day this year. When Mental Health Awareness Week this year was all about kindness. That's the link that I put on today's. I think I put it on yesterday. So have a little look, and I just printed off this thing because you don't need to take my. Hi Hayley, hi Lorna. You don't need to take my word for it, but there's a few things that I've printed off, and you know, if I had a bit more time I might be able to say my own words, but I haven't. So why kindness? So this is why they chose kindness as a theme. So this is in the midst of the pandemic. We have chosen kindness because its singular ability to unlock our shared humanity. Kindness strengthens relationships, develops community, and deepens solidarity. It is a cornerstone of our individual and collective mental health. Wisdom from every culture across history recognises that kindness is something that all human beings need to experience, to practice to be fully alive. And it says a little bit about research. We know from research that kindness and our mental health are deeply connected. The research shows that kindness is an antidote to isolation and creates a sense of belonging. And we are social creatures. We like to belong to the little gang. Hi, Ree. How are you today? Happy Friday. It helps reduce stress, and we all need to reduce stress, don't we? brings a fresh perspective and deepens friendships. And we've seen this up and down the country on the news when people have become friends with their neighbours who they'd never been friends with. Hi, Antonia. Hi. Happy Friday. Hope you're well. Right. But, word of caution, it doesn't. It says kindness is an act of courage. But kindness is an intrinsically risky endeavour. It can risk us looking foolish or being taken advantage of, which is why we sometimes retreat. So, I've done it before. I've made a tit out of myself and I've got it wrong, but it's not a crime to get it wrong, is it? So, and I thought this is really, really interesting. It talks about a kinder society. We have a once in a generation opportunity, not only during, but also following this pandemic, for a reset and a rethink about what kind of society we want to emerge from this crisis. And I know what kind of society I want to emerge from. Let's make this awful year the best year. Let's make it the best year ever. I've got some mince pie stuck in. I had a mince pie. It's gone now. Stuck in my teeth. Let's make this year. Let's make a positive out of a negative. And we've seen it bring the best and the worst out of people. You know, we're going to talk about forgiveness and we're going to talk a bit about mental health in a moment. But it says here, after the 2008 credit crunch, it was the most vulnerable in our communities who experienced the severest consequences of austerity, with devastating effects on their mental and physical health. The two are quite closely linked. This is not the hallmark of a kind society. We must not make the same mistakes after this pandemic. So we don't want to experience the same problems as they had back then. Right. So that's why it. Hi Sam, how are you? That's why simple random acts of kindness. You are looking after your own mental health. Let me see. Right, forgiveness. Oh, I'll tell you what I wrote down on my little sheet of paper some things that had cropped up in the news that I just wanted to mention. And, you know, Jessie from Little Mix, she left the band. And nice band, nice bunch of girls, but they're not aimed at me, so it's not really, I like listening to it on the radio. But I watched Jessie's documentary, and that made you well up inside, didn't it? How much did that just really hit a nerve and make you feel, how can we be so unkind to each other as human beings, that a young girl, the mother, she visited the mother of a young girl who had taken her own life because of bullying online. Oh my goodness. It's shocking how unkind we can be to other people just over the internet. It's shocking. And, you know, good on that Jessie, good on her, you know, because she deserves to be happy. She's a beautiful young woman, but it seems that we are such vile human beings that anybody in the public eye, we just almost, some people, not me, and not you, I'm sure, but some people seem to get entertainment or pleasure on bringing other people down. And I've talked about this before, and a good way you learn how to be more forgiving is that those people that are nasty and vile, that behaviour comes from a place of hurt from themselves. You know, they're hurting inside because nice people are not horrible to other people. They're just not. You know, you've just got to look in the news about poor Barbara Windsor. You know, I've not seen anybody. Well, people don't say horrible things when people have just died, but you know, you could tell that what people were saying about her was true. What a nice, kind, lovely lady she was. She was always smiling. She was good vibes. And people like her, what a shame she's not with us anymore, because people like her just give off such positivity and good vibes, and we should look up to people like that who care about other people, you know. So trolls and people that are horrible, you know, it's scary, so scary. I wish people just would go to counselling instead and try and work through what the issues they've got are, because even people that are horrible deserve to be happy. Do you know what? It's my honest view in life that people are not born horrible or bad. I think that, you know, they have lots and lots of different experiences. Some people are luckier than others, that they have really good experiences as a child, but other people have horrible experiences as a child. And unfortunately, I think it's up until the age of 7, the experiences you have as a child up to the age of 7, you know, that helps you form your beliefs and value system that you carry with you for the rest of your life. And I'll tell you what my belief system that I learned at 7 years old taught me, because it's really difficult to unpick it and get rid of it. Anyway, I wanted to talk about Jessie, and, you know, I feel ashamed to be part of a society that makes Jessie from Little Mix give up her job that I presume that she loved and she's with her best friends, because people are so horrible to her. Do you know, it makes me want to go knock on a door and give her a big hug, even though we're not allowed to, you know, because she's absolutely gorgeous. And I tell you what, she's got a figure to die for, you know, and she's just perfect, just the way she is. And I tell you what, and the other big issue I've got is Harry and Meghan. Oh, hi, Anto. So Harry and Meghan, the royals, they're the royal family. But they're still just human beings. And do you know what shocks me? Right, okay, so they're right in the firing line, aren't they? They can't do right for doing wrong. They can't do right. It wouldn't matter if one of them grew a halo. They'd still get criticised. Harry can't, it's not his fault he was born into the royal family. He's not done anything wrong. And he presumably chose a woman that he loved. Good plan. That's number one rule in a marriage. Marry someone that you love, you know, whether people like her or not. He chose her and he likes to be with her, so presumably he gets on pretty well with her. And they decided to say, no, I'm not happy with this life. I'm gonna do something different about it. This is where we want to move. I tell you what, they can live in Timbuktu if they want. And so they've said that they're going to earn their own money. They get criticised for, was it a deal with Disney or something like that? They get criticised for that. They get criticised for some oat milk latte. And they're not doing a job as a royal, and they're earning their own money. They're earning their own money. I'm kind of just like... And people's problem is with that. And do you know what? If they're using the title, there's a lot of arguments about whether they should use the title. Personally, I don't care, because it doesn't affect my life. They can do whatever they want. My dad always taught me, live and let live. They're not hurting anybody. Why can't we just let people be happy? I tell you what, I don't know how I'd cope if people were constantly so vile and horrible. And, you know, most people that say things about the pair of those have never even met them. You know, they don't know them. Why can't we be happy for people? You know, let them do whatever they want. Let them be a little happy family. Who cares? Let them. Right, so that's another one. And I tell you what made me feel really, really, really upset. Did you see on the news that the little, I only caught half of it, but there was a little kid on the news and he was taking photographs, I think, of lorries, and I think he was putting together a calendar to raise money. I only caught half of it, but I think he was putting a calendar together to raise money for something. And I just caught his mum talking about how she was explaining to this little boy, and he must have been about 8 or 9. She was explaining how she had to tell her son, explain to him what trolling was and what bullying was. Oh, words fail me. But why? There must be so many broken people that are too busy worrying what everyone else is doing and bringing them down. Because what people do is, when people are unkind like that, in some, misguided way, they think that, well, they probably don't think it, it's just a subconscious thing. They think by being unkind to other people is going to somehow make them feel better. But it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. It just makes everyone feel sad and contributes to our mental health problem that we face today. And I just wanted to say, did anybody hear the clip of Tom Cruise shouting at one of his crew members because apparently they weren't socially distanced or some problem? That made me feel most uncomfortable. I get that he was annoyed, and it obviously came from a place of passion. But there was no need for that. That was just, he lost it, to be fair. Where can you see that what I'm trying to tell you is that his shouting like that, and his shouting and swearing and pure anger, came from a place within himself where he was upset and angry, presumably about the situation around filming and how difficult it is. But those people who maybe got too close to each other, you don't know what they were saying, you don't know why they did that, you don't know. People don't deserve to be spoken to like that. So anyway, that's the little bits for the news. Right, let me see what else I was going to talk about. Right, and we're on to forgiveness. Hello. Hi, Danielle. How are you? So I wanted to look up a little bit about forgiveness because I try and be a decent person. I try and forgive people because I'm quite well aware that people make mistakes, people say things they don't mean, and people have outbursts, and people just behave in a certain way. But it's really important for our own mental health that we learn to forgive and let go. Because it's like not forgiving and carrying it round with you. It's like carrying round a ball and chain, So forgiveness is not about just saying you're sorry because it's part of your religion, saying sorry because you think it's the right thing to do. It's actually letting go. So it says here, this hopkinsmedicine.org/health, forgiveness, your health depends on it. So forgiveness is really essential for your own health. Right. Whether it's a simple spat with your spouse or a long-held resentment towards a family member or friend, unresolved conflict can go deeper than you may realise. It may be affecting your physical health. So I've just highlighted bits of this. Studies have found that the act of forgiveness can reap huge rewards for your health, lowering the risk of heart attack, improving cholesterol levels and sleep, and reducing pain and blood pressure. Get that! And levels of anxiety, depression and stress. So if you're dragging round a wheelbarrow full of grudges with people, you ain't doing yourself any favours. And research points to an increase in the forgiveness health connection as you age. There is an enormous physical burden to being hurt and disappointed. And it says chronic anger puts you into a fight or flight mode, which results in numerous changes in heart rate, blood pressure and immune response. Those changes then increase the risk of depression, heart disease and diabetes, among other conditions. Forgiveness, however, calms stress levels, leading to improved health. And what I'll just read you these other things. So I picked out some things that I thought were really helpful. Forgiveness is not just about saying the words. It is an active process in which you make a conscious decision to let go of negative feelings, whether the person deserves it or not. So that means you ain't forgiving somebody because they said sorry to you. You know, very often people don't say sorry, you know, but you're still carrying around. Let me have a drink of water. I've got my water. You're carrying around that burden with you. So the fellow who wrote this article says, as you release the anger, resentment and hostility, you begin to feel empathy, compassion, and sometimes even affection for the person who wronged you. And I'll tell you about somebody I've forgiven just recently. Oh, my cheek's going all hot. It's my age. Studies have found that some people are just naturally more forgiving. Consequently, they tend to be more satisfied with their lives and have less depression, anxiety, stress, anger and hostility. People who hang on to grudges, however, are more likely to experience severe depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as other health conditions. But that doesn't mean that they can't train themselves to act in healthier ways. So it tells you about making forgiveness part of your life. Reflect and remember. This includes the events themselves and how you reacted, how you felt, and how the anger and hurt have affected you since. Empathise with the other person. Forgive deeply. And it says one study found that people whose forgiveness came in part from understanding that no one is perfect were able to resume a normal relationship with the other person, even if that person never apologised. Next one, decide to forgive. Once you make that choice, seal it with an action. If you don't feel like you can talk to the person who wronged you, write about your forgiveness in a journal, or even talk about it to someone else in your life whom you trust. So that's my little bit on forgiveness. And I tell you what I wanted to show you. I'm going to put this up later. So this young lady I found on the internet, she's called Sarah Montana. Please, will you watch that? Please, will you do me one thing today? If you don't watch anything else, it's not long. It's called The Real Risk of Forgiveness by Sarah Montana. This young lady, she's obviously a very articulate young lady in her 20s. She is amazing. She'll tell you about forgiveness. Okay, and what she can tell you about forgiveness is she'll tell you how a stranger, well, not a complete stranger, somebody in their neighbourhood came into their house to rob them and basically shot a brother and then shot a mum. So she talks about, you know, the act of forgiveness and how that really, really helped her. What was the other one? Don't know what this one was about. Okay, right. I know what I'm doing now. Right, so mental health. So I keep learning and I share these things with you because I find them absolutely fascinating. I'm really fascinated about how the brain works, and I'll talk about lots of things to do with mental health, because by sharing with you guys, hopefully it makes you guys think that it's all right to chat about it. And I think, let's face it, mental health problems are a taboo. They are a taboo, whether you like it or not. People don't like talking about it. Physical illness, people are all right talking about it. So if you have 6 weeks off work and you tell all your colleagues that you broke your arm and you're off because it takes 6 weeks, or you know, you got COVID, so you're having to isolate and recover, nobody bats an eyelid. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it, because your brain your brain's just another organ. So why is it so far-fetched that sometimes this organ up here might have a bit of a malfunction? It might have some little warning lights. Because, do you know why I think it is? I think it's because it's very easy to mask. And, you know, if you've broke your leg, you're not going to be running a marathon because it's physically impossible. But there's more grey areas, isn't there, with mental health problems? But I find it a really, really odd phenomenon that mental health issues is like this one big umbrella term, whereas, you know, how many, it's like us calling a broken leg a physical health problem. You know, I've broke my back. Instead of saying you've broke your back, you say, I've got a physical health problem. And it's just weird, isn't it? And it's the same with the brain, really. You know, there's so many different masses and masses of different sides to mental health problems that, you know, number one, you've got things like dementia that are a physical problem where something isn't working as it should. The brain cells are dying and it's affecting the person. Then you've got hormonal problems, things that periods and menopause. Then you've got vitamin deficiencies. You've got things like vitamin D deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency, things like that can make you feel iron deficiency, that can make you tired, and that can lead to you feeling just fed up. And, you know, there's life events as an adult, life events as a child. All those childhood events are just stuck with you. They're stuck with you, and they're, you know, sometimes can take lots and lots of different approaches to try and get to the bottom. And sometimes people can be depressed or anxious and they don't really know why, you know, and it'll take those people, the professionals, a few goes to try and suss out what the problem is. So mental health problems are a lot more difficult and complex to get to the bottom of, the, you know, than a broken leg. Broken leg, they look at the picture, they look at the x-ray, they say, there, that's where it's broken, put your leg in pot and you'll be fixed in 6 weeks. So mental health problems are just, I just hope in future that, I think, do you know what I think after this year? I think that mental health is going to have to become a higher priority. I think it's going to have to, because mental health problems can be as debilitating as physical health problems, you know. So I'll talk a little bit about childhood experiences, because I didn't know when I was bringing my children up that experiences, and don't quote me on this, but I think it's up and around the age of 7, you learn from your parents, and those things that your parents teach you, or the experiences you have, teach you your belief system and your value system. Hi Amy, hi Maureen, hi Kaylee, hi Anna. Are you all right, Anna? Off now, are you? So, what was I saying? See, it's me age. What I was saying, so yeah, childhood. So, what happened to me when I was a child, and I've since found out these little things, and they're all little clues that teach you about, because, you know, you don't come with a Haynes manual, you don't come with an instruction manual. So, what happened to me, age 7, was, I think I was pretty normal up to the age of 7. And I remember my dad reading me bedtime stories, and I remember the stupid games that me and my brother used to play in the living room, and I remember laughing. We were a typical brother and sister, fighting all the time, but we did have a laugh as well. Playing on a building site when they were building houses round Abrahamites. Used to play on building sites. That's not allowed anymore. Got me welly stuck one day. Anyway, I was a happy child. And then one day, out of my blue, my mum and dad brought me and my brother in to have a talk to us. And basically, they were splitting up. They were getting divorced. Hi, Amy. They were splitting up, getting divorced, which, you know, life happens. That's fine. If people don't love each other anymore, what's the point in staying together? But at 7, I'm not sure I understood completely. I guess I can't really remember what they said. But what I figured out was my mum and my dad were going their separate ways. They were going to live in separate houses. Okay? They were going to live in separate houses. And I remember sitting next to my dad and saying to my dad, right, okay. I thought, well, fair enough, I'm going to get a choice here. I said, well, I decided I wanted to live with my dad because I was always very close to my dad, a proper daddy's girl. And I decided I wanted to stay and live with my dad. I said, right, okay, Dad, I'm going to stay here and live with you. I said, so I can eat cornflakes in the morning with you. And he turned round. Let me just make sure this isn't important. Right, just checking that's not important. It's not important. I'm on call today again. So I said to him, I've chosen, I'm going to live with you. And my dad is black is black and white is white. And as children, he said what was going to happen. And it happened. So when he said no, that's it. He just said, I said no, that's it. And you knew there was no flexibility, no budging. So he said, no. He said, you're not going to live with me. He said, you're going to go and live with your mum. And I was like, that's not very fair. And there was no discussion around it. That's just what it was. But at age 7, I realise now this, because what happens is you take information in about that experience and what you do is you try and make sense of it and you make up a story around what that means to you. So the story I made up at the time was that there must be something wrong with me. My dad didn't want me, and that must be because I wasn't good enough. So I just couldn't understand, because before that point, I thought he would say, well, if you want to do that, yeah, if you want to do that, I love you so much, you can come here and you can stay here with me and we'll eat cornflakes in the morning together. But because there was no discussion, and that's just what my dad's like, you know, I think he thought he was making it clear to me and it wasn't up for discussion. Now, I know it wasn't up for discussion, but that was age 7 is such an impressionable age. So what's happened is that those beliefs, even though my conscious mind knows that that's not true, I am good enough, but I'm getting to the age of 47 and I'm having to work on this stuff, because right back in there, childhood me said, you're not good enough. There must be something wrong with you, and there must be something wrong with you because your dad doesn't want you. And, you know, it might sound kind of trivial because lots of parents split up, but it's just knowing that those things that those children are hearing probably are going to be with them, you know, for the rest of their lives. And actually, some of the rubbish things that have happened to me in adulthood have not affected me in the same way. They've been able to just bounce off. So be really careful what you're teaching your kids, especially around that really, really, really vulnerable age, because during this pandemic, our children are suffering as well. They're really struggling as well. And so let me have a look on my list. So I've put, right, this is another reason why things that I'm talking about have come up this week. So this week, and I know this is uncomfortable, but it's important. It's uncomfortable. I've heard about a young person this week who's sadly taken their own life. and I don't even know this person, but I cried for them. I cried for them because it's just, do you know what's the saddest part is that they were suffering so much, and you know, and I just had a quick flick onto the Samaritans website, and these are figures for 2019. 5,691 people took their lives in 2019, and that's 321 people higher than the year before. That's awful. Nearly 6,000 people were suffering so much, you know. You know, for all the people that say that people who take their own lives are really selfish because of the, you know, people that they leave behind, they're not selfish. They're extremely poorly, and they can't carry on. That is the only way that they can see to end their pain. They can't live with that pain. They can't go on anymore with that pain. And I'm going to try not to cry today. Nikki, I'm going to get through all this without crying, but I'm going to talk to you a bit about my own experiences. But, you know, this shizzle is real. It's real. We can pretend it doesn't exist all we like, but I've had personal experience. This shizzle does exist, and we should talk about it. And I want to talk about why people with mental health problems don't talk about it, and it's because it's a taboo. So why is it a taboo? Because when you say I've got anxiety, or and some people do, you know, and I think they are so strong to be able to talk about it and admit it. But people generally don't talk about anxiety or depression because it invites judgment. It invites judgment, and usually that judgment is that you can't keep your shizzle together. You can't keep it together, and so you must be a weak person. You can't organise your life. Everybody else is doing mother work, whatever else, and managing to work through this and managing all the other stresses in your life, and going shopping at the weekend and doing your Christmas shopping and organising your family and going shopping for other people, you know. I need a drink when I end up talking too much. So people see it as a weakness that they can't cope with their own life stuff. And they think, well, everybody else, you know, like, you know, there are some midwives who've got young children and they manage to do their job and they manage to get to work on time and they manage to juggle everything in their lives. There must be something wrong with me if I'm struggling with that. So, you know, we're so fearful of judgment that to admit that we might be weak or have times that we're weak. And by the way, if you come across a person who's never had any issues around mental health, I think they're so lucky. It's like when you meet people who are physically well, who have just been really well, they're just so lucky. But, you know, there's not that many of them. And it's like, to say you've never suffered with, you know, depression or anxiety, I think it's like saying you don't have colds in the winter, you don't have colds. And now, I'm not saying that everybody suffers from chronic depression, but everybody has off days or down days. And I personally, I would love to hear the way we talk about mental illness in a different way. Because when you say, I feel really fed up today, that somehow seems much more acceptable than saying, you know, I'm at real risk of spontaneously combusting from the total stress of my job and the amount of things that I've got to do, and I feel like my head's going to explode or I'm going to slip into a deep depression. You know, I think we need a different language that says, you know, today is so difficult, and you know, we need to stop calling people depressed people. We need to stop calling people anxious people, because those emotions are perfectly normal some of the time, and sometimes people need help, and sometimes people can help themselves, and sometimes people just need to chat with their friends, and sometimes people just need a hug, and we'll come on to hugging in a minute, you know. But I am not a depressed person. I am not an anxious person. But occasionally I suffer a bit. You know, June, I was suffering quite a lot with being down, but I didn't like to call it depression because I know it was all my hormones' fault. So yeah, that's another taboo I'm going to mention. Perimenopause and menopause, massive taboo. There you go, said it. And that's, do you know why? It's not fashionable. It's not fashionable to have issues around mental health, and it's not fashionable for women to get old. Slightly more acceptable for blokes to get old. Blokes become distinguished. Women who no longer produce babies, they're so last year, they're so last decade, they're so on the scrap heap. Well, sorry, excuse me, I think they're forgetting the wealth of experience these beautiful, gorgeous, curvaceous ladies have to... Oh! Ring her back in a sec. Ring her back in a sec. So I'm going to have to wind it up shortly, but I'll just quickly go through... the other things. So, you know... So one of the things that I found on my journey to recovery is I had to learn to put my pride in my pocket. So that's big learning of the day for people that are struggling, because you have to admit that something's wrong. And I sort of ended up getting help bit by accident. So what happens, and I want to tell you this in case you don't know, because I didn't know. Let me tell you this little secret. Right, if you know any women that are 40 upwards, please be kind to them. Please be kind to them. Tell you what, perimenopause, nobody told me it would be this hard. Nobody told me. My mum didn't tell me. Nobody told me. So women have to carry on in their jobs despite not having the protective effects of estrogen. So lots of oh, hang on. Right, okay. Lots of women in their 40s and 50s really struggle with depression because the hormones are all over the place. I am quite an erratic person anyway and really struggle with periods. So when this baby hit me one more time, got the shock of my life, didn't I? And it all ended up falling on its backside. So I tell you, when I made my big decision, when I was aware that these monthly downs, you know, like you get before a period, you feel a bit... and sometimes you feel really stressed and really down, but you know it's all right because in a few days' time you'll feel amazing again. So what happened with perimenopause was that I noticed the down days seemed to just linger, lasting longer and longer and longer, until I decided I wanted to monitor it, because just erratic moods, sometimes really low, crying all the time, and then other times happy as Larry. HRT patches, yeah, that helped a little bit for a little while. So that helped for a little while, and then I looked at this log in my diary of how many... I've started writing down my feelings in my diary, and I went back one day and I counted how many days I felt really, really rock bottom low. And it started creeping up to 14 days in a month. That was it. I thought, this is becoming a problem. So I thought, right. And do you know the funny thing was? The funny thing was that while I was going through all this process, I thought that I was being very, very reasonable and thinking things through. And I thought, right, okay, the literature tells you that perimenopause, so the bit where your periods are basically all over the place, the bit where your hormones haven't got a clue whether they're coming or going, or whether you're having a baby or whether you're not having a baby, all this can last for up to 10 years. 10 years. So I collated the data and I thought to myself, right, okay, so you're going to feel this rubbish for more than half your life for the next 10 years. You've already been to the doctors, you've already tried a couple of different brands of HRT, and one of them stripped your skin off your stomach and you just looked like all these dirty gluey marks on your belly, and it's a right pain, and everybody knows you're getting old. So I thought, right, well, I've tried the treatment, and it's obviously now not working. Hi Aisha, hi Liz, hi Elna, hi Janet. So what I thought was, okay, Mother Nature, if you're telling me this is my deal, I ain't going to be here. And I decided at that moment that if that's what life wanted to deal me, I wasn't going to live life. I was going to kill myself. So that's what I decided. And I was as cold and calm as I am now. I thought, call me stubborn. And I went, no, you can shove that up your backside. Perimenopause, you can keep it, love. I'll not be going down that for the next 10 years. So then what happened was I had a bit of a to and fro. This is in between working and having me up days and me down days. So I had this going on. So this guy was saying, okay, Claire, okay, if you're telling me you're going to kill yourself, what are you going to do about it then? You haven't even got a plan. So I thought, oh, God, you're right. I haven't got a plan. Well, I couldn't hang myself. I'm not brave enough. I couldn't shoot myself. I wouldn't know what else to do. So I started thinking, well, I'll just go drive somewhere and sit in my car and get the hose pipe out of the garden. And then I was thinking, well, the hose pipe won't fit onto my exhaust. I wonder if I can fix it up with duct tape. I wonder and then I thought, no, it's not good. It's not the right diameter. It's not and do you know what I thought? It's such a shame because we've got a big fat hose pipe but it's in France. That's a shame. I wonder if you can go to the hardware shop. I wonder if you can buy fatter hose pipes. And I kid you not. And I woke up in the morning thinking about these things. I thought, I'm not quite sure whether these are healthy thoughts, but I wasn't crying while I was thinking it. I was perfectly reasonable. And then this guy, he's saying, but Claire, that you've got 4 children. And I thought, oh, well, I'm such a miserable cow. My husband he'll be all right. I'll just write him a letter saying, you've got my blessing, you can get another wife. So this guy's talking to me and saying, Claire, this is really selfish. Don't think like just calm down. Calm down. We need to think this through some more. I thought, there's a problem. But 2 of my girls are grown up, and the other 2, and it's going, but you've got 10 years. You've got 10 years of crying in the car to deal with. Is this what you want? Your children don't want to see you like that. You're no good as a mother. Start planning more. Right, okay. So you've come up with your plan, and how long are you going to give it? And I thought that this guy was being perfectly reasonable by saying, okay, let's give it a year. Let's just give it a year. So I am so lucky that I was not so unwell that I couldn't see that I needed more time. I needed more time to try other things. I owed it to my children. But I made that plan. And if I wasn't fixed by June next year, I was off this planet, and I meant it. And I feel so grateful now that I've found a treatment that works for me. At the moment, I'm really glad. I'm still a little bit scared of the horrible monster coming back. I'll admit, I am scared. But at the moment, I'm living my best life, and I'm making the most of it, and I'm creating, and I'm doing loads of things, and I'm doing all the things I enjoy. And yes, I have taken a brand new perspective on life because I feel like I have recovered from a terminal illness. That's how I feel. I feel like I've been given a second chance. But the bit where you put your pride in your pocket, the reason I made those stupid decisions was because I thought they were all things that I could suss out for myself. And they're not. Let me tell you, anybody who's feeling down or depressed, if you're feeling thoughts like that you can't see a way out, that is not a decision that you should be making on your own. Please believe me. Please believe me, you are not. You know, when there's a problem, two heads are always better than one. So if you can just speak to someone, because if you're thinking like that, you're wrong. You're wrong, please. I was wrong because what I learned from all this experience was putting your pride in your pocket and going to see your GP and asking, what can we do about this problem? It's not as traumatic as you think it is. My worst fear was kept going back to the GPs and them thinking, oh my goodness, I can do without this nutcase coming back to me. And I know, when you've got mental health problems, you're not the easiest patient to deal with. You might take a little bit longer. You might even cry. But you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be happy. All those horrible things that happened to you as a child, there are some specialists that can help you work through that. The problem is it's not, you ain't going to go into A&E and it's going to get sorted out like that. You just need to be patient and hang in there. Do you know one of my favourite stones that I painted was the one that says hold. And that underneath it said, hold on, pain ends. And it's so true. And do you know what? I would have never been able to envisage where I'm at now because it seemed to be such a black hole that I thought there was no way out of. And you know what? I am embarrassed about, if I saw the doctors in town, I'd be so embarrassed because I had to go and, you feel like you've got your tail between your legs because you're asking for help. But, I tell you something now, you're not on your own. You're not on your own. And because I've started talking about perimenopause symptoms and mental health in general, you'll be amazed the amount of people who've sent me a message or said, do you know what, this is how I feel. I'm thinking, do you know what? They are doing a brilliant job. With mental health problems, we can all, at times, we do an amazing job at covering it all up. And I tell you, it breaks my heart every time I see her on the telly. And I tell you who's brilliant at it, Kate Garraway. Kate Garraway is laughing and smiling and doing her job on the morning, on Good Morning Britain or whatever it's called, And as far as I know, she's still got a husband that's in a coma and has been there since about March. And I just think she's doing what people do. She's putting that brave face on so she can do her job. And, I just hope and pray that she's got the love and support around her that she needs because, I don't even know her, but I've got every day I see her, I just wish and hope and send her love and best wishes for her husband to make a recovery. And, as time goes on, it gets worrying. But then you see somebody who pops up on the telly who's been in a coma for months and has come right, So women especially, you don't want to be seen as being old. You don't want to be seen to have mental health problems. You don't want to be seen to be struggling with your job or your workload or anything else. But, you deserve to be well. And what I found, the reason I feel so well at the moment is because I've got a new appreciation for happiness. I appreciate my relationships. I appreciate the things that I like doing. I appreciate my time with my family. And I'm going to carry on learning. And as long as I'm learning, I'm sharing with you. And the last thing I wanted to... I tell you what I wanted to tell you about is the stupidness of social media and how you can take an image of social media. And I know people think that on social media, it looks like other people's lives are perfect, right? This week, Monday, I felt really stressed and I could feel the Christmas stress creeping up. Excuse me. I could feel it creeping up and I thought, it's because you don't like Christmas. It's stressful. And it's still there. It's been there a long time, that Christmas stress. But I'm trying. And hopefully this year will be a bit easier. So social media, right? I put these two on. So this was taken in March. Right, you can see that actually I'm looking quite slim. So I was suffering quite badly then. So that smile is proper fake. And I thought, that looks good. I look nice and happy there. Let's pretend to be happy. I lost some weight because I thought that might really help and make me feel better. But that was a couple of months before I was planning to kill myself. You know, that's how much a picture can lie. It's lying to you. Okay, this was not long before my birthday. So they're my two daughters. So we were locked down, so we were communicating on the phone. And I don't know whether you can see it. There's me pretending to be happy to my daughter. And there's me. That's a bit more telling. I don't look so happy there. So that was bad. And I captured these from a book that I made. So there's me as well. That's when I was off work. Look at me. I don't know whether you can see that, but that's me out on a Thursday clapping for the NHS, because that's what you want to do. You want to maintain this happy face. You want to maintain that everything's all right. You certainly don't want your neighbours to think you're falling apart. So that's me laughing and trying to put a brave face on and pretend to my husband as well. My husband knew I wasn't well though. And one thing that is really important if you're not feeling tip-top in yourself, friends. So this is me and my best buddy Debbie in the summer. You can see that we're socially distanced and we are sharing we're not sharing. We're having a can of beer in the garden. I'm smiling because you smile, don't you? You're conditioned to smile when someone takes your picture. And that was grim. I was not at all well. So pictures, social media, it's not what it seems. And drinking, don't judge people for drinking too much. A lot of people have been drinking. I know you pregnant ladies won't be drinking, but a lot of people have started drinking a little bit more in lockdown because they're not at work or, but some people, it's a coping mechanism. And sometimes people drink because, I know for me, I started drinking more than I would like. And that was the only way I could make the horrible feeling go away. So it just numbs the pain. So, it's a coping mechanism, but it's not healthy. So I can now reveal that I will be doing dry January. I would love some of you, I know pregnant ladies, you might like to join in because you're already doing it, but we're going to be sharing some tips and tips on alcohol-free drinks. I've started collecting my alcohol-free drinks already. They're ready there because I'm doing dry January because I need to give my body a reset. Next year next year we'll be launching New Year, New You. How about that? Who's on that journey with me? Okay, so what else is on here? Right, okay, I did have this thing here. And one of the reasons why mental health has been so affected, I think, during this pandemic, obviously a lot of the new pregnant mummies and new mummies have not had the support. We've talked about this, and it's very difficult, but the midwives have not been able to touch as much as they would like. But I've printed off this interesting article about, as human beings, we need physical contact. So this is the human touch. 4 reasons it's important. As human beings, we need physical contact. This is how I know I've been talking too long. But it says platonic touch is an important way to bond and communicate. In the past, our palms were like the vocal cords of body language because they did more talking than any other part. And it just says here there are 4 reasons. Just 1 hug a day keeps the doctor away. Now, we know we can't hug during Corona, but I'm trying to explain to you why it's important. And this particular article just says, recent research has shown that regular hugs lower a person's heart rate and blood pressure. It's not just a short-term effect. Rather, hugs make us healthier, happier in general, and strengthen the immune system, decrease stress and reduce anxiety. And it's an effective means of conveying support, and it can help you protect you from infection. Physical contact strengthens team dynamics by building non-sexual intimacy. So it's really important in our teams at work and, you know, groups of friends. It's a non-verbal message of support and cooperation. But it tells you about some psychology university in California studied the role of touch in the context of basketball teams. The research found that teams whose players touch each other more often win more games. And then it's got a little disclaimer. But please be careful when touching co-workers, as your gestures of encouragement and support may be misinterpreted for harassment. So you should always be mindful of whether it's welcome or not. But physical touch promotes trust and security. The handshake is widely accepted to show a gesture of goodwill and openness, and it may well determine someone's trustworthiness by the quality of their handshake. I thought this, I've highlighted this whole paragraph. People who experience lots of physical contact are less violent. It has been significantly proven that children who do not experience enough loving physical affection are more prone to violence once they reach adulthood. Neuropsychologist James Prescott determined that violence in society often correlates with a lack of cultural emphasis on maternal bonding. When a child experiences loving touch, they learn to attach to others in a healthy way. As they grow, they are less likely to use touch in a hurtful or aggressive way. This early touch paves the way for emotional stability. The results are not only personal but societal. So I thought that was really interesting, and I just wanted to show you this picture of me and my lovely little sister. So can you see that was so difficult for me not to hug her, but I couldn't not hold her hand, and she appreciated that. And it's just such a huge part of a midwife's job, and I thought this was cute. Touch stimulates the release of endorphins, the body's natural painkillers. There are approximately 5 million touch receptors in our skin, 3,000 in each fingertip. And this one here. Can you see? Isn't that cute? No other form of communication is as universally understood as touch. The compassionate touch of our hand or a reassuring hug can take away our fears, soothe our anxieties, and fill the emptiness of being lonely. How appropriate is that? Nobody's allowed to touch, nobody's allowed to hug, but if you've got people in your family home that you are allowed to hug them tight. And I want to leave you with this special thought, and who better to finish our Friday live with some words of wisdom are our absolutely beautiful, selfless Mother Teresa. I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. Together we can do great things. What a beautiful lady she was. Okay, so I am well at the moment, but there have been times when I've not been well. So while you're well, it's your duty to look after other people around you. And while other people are well, you try and look after other people, especially around Christmas, because some people find Christmas so difficult. And I wanted to I'm going to share with you, I've shared it with you before, this book came at long last. Does this pregnancy make me look fat? The Essential Guide to Loving Your Body Before and After Baby. So I've gone on too long now, but this book that I've got, I'll be reading some things out of there, but we've got the Healthy Beauty Pledge for mothers and mothers-to-be. This book, from what I've read already, is just so lovely, and it's got that, you know, that thing, I had it a minute ago, it tells you, oh, here we are, that picture there about how you should see yourself. I really love that. So we're going to be having a bit more of that in the lives to come. And just to remind you that I do still have my Just Giving page. I think we're about £377 now. So we're doing really well, but if you can spare a couple of quid, please donate to my Just Giving page, the Proud Midwife Facebook Lives. And I just wanted to remind you that the 4 gift bags that I'll be delivering on Christmas Day, 2 are taken, but I need 2 more nominations. Please, please, please drop me your nominations of somebody who's going to be on their own on Christmas Day. I only want to deliver around Lancaster and Morecambe areas, so don't be sending me to Timbuktu. And I would like 2 more nominations, if you don't mind, and I will deliver those 4 bags. I'm hoping to take pictures for you, and I better answer my phone, so you take care. See you soon. Bye.